All right, tonight is the 5th of Sivan, and it is the time that we were standing in Mount Sinai, and Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, asked us if we wanted the Torah. And we said, Na'aseh v'nishma. We will do even before we hear what it's about. We will do even before we understand anything. Before we even hear what the subject is, Hashem wants us to give us something, wants to guide us with something. We said first we will do. So that's what we said. What did Hashem do in response when we said that? Hashem said to the angels, who revealed to my children the secret? Who told them the secret? It sounds like we figured out something that so to speak, Hashem didn't know. Hashem said, who told my children the secret? But the real meaning of the word who is like, remember that comedy routine, who's on first, what's on second? I don't know who's on third. You know what I'm talking about? So who is a name? Who is a description of Hashem? There is a way we describe Hashem as you, and that's referring to the way Hashem is, His light is contracted in the world. And we talk about Hashem as who, that's the way Hashem is infinite and transcendent and beyond creation. So, mi gil labonei razeh means who, Hashem himself, Hashem in his essence, he is the one who revealed then, and every year at this time, he reveals in us this secret love we have for him, that we say, Na'aseh v'nishma. Tonight, we're supposed to think about those words, we're supposed to say these words that Rebbe says, and be conscious of our secret, of our inner secret. So we're going to go into this concept a little bit, hopefully go very deep. But before we do, I want to tell you an amazing story. There's a woman named Miriam Rhodes. Maybe some of you know her. She's living in Bat Ayin in Israel. And in the 60s, she made dramatic steps to try to find spirituality. Where do Jews go for spirituality, you know? India. She went to India, Tibet. Not the best place. Not the best place. So that's what she knew about. She's in the 60s, flower child. She went to India, but she didn't just go there for like a day or a week or a month. She was there for 4 years. And she went to so many different kinds of monasteries and went to so many different kinds of monks and all kinds of crazy kind of grueling religious experiences. And finally, one of her friends tells her, actually her family called her and told her that their father is sick. She should come back to see their father. And when she came back to America, one of her friends had also looked at a spiritual experience, except that her friend didn't go to India. Her friend went to Crown Heights. And she joined the Chabad Women's Yeshiva. Tonight's Eliyahu's birthday. Dedicated class to Eliyahu's birthday. Year of bracha v'atzlacha v'gashus ruach zenda bashi. Zorot tovot Eliyahu, only good news. Cheder b'ashavi v'niyat, only good news. So her friend tells her, listen, Passover, her family didn't keep Passover. Passover is a very big thing for the Jewish people. We're spending Passover in this women's yeshiva. It's really a lot of fun. A lot of girls who are very friendly. Come spend Passover with us. Okay, I'll come there just for the night of Passover. The night of Passover, the Rebbe would not just have his own Passover Seder, but he would go to all the different communal Seders that were in Crown Heights. He would go to the Russian Seder for the Russian immigrants. He went to the Persian Seder for the Persian immigrants. When the Persians came, you walk around, yeah. And he went to the women's yeshiva as well.
It's like me.
And when he went to the women's yeshiva, this girl, Miriam, saw him, and she saw, the light in the Rebbe's face, and she heard the Rebbe speaking, and whatever the Rebbe said, it went deep into her heart. And she decided she doesn't want to leave right away, and she decided she's going to stay 3 more days. 3 more days turned into a week, and she ended up staying for a month, and she ended up deciding she doesn't want to, she likes this. But she was part of this women's yeshiva. And as she's getting closer and closer to Judaism, one of her friends tells her, they have a little, I don't know if it was by dinner or by lunch or by breakfast, but they had a discussion about her interest in Judaism. And one of her friends says, in this lifetime, it's been very hard for you to rectify all that you've done in the past. For 4 years of idol worship, it causes a huge black stain on your soul. And probably in order for you to rectify this, you'll have to come into many reincarnations. That's what her friend said. So another friend said, well, maybe there's a way, through some kind of great penitence, for fasting. All different suggestions her friends were telling her. It's a true story. I heard it from someone, I heard it from her. She sat down and wrote a letter to the Rebbe. She poured her whole heart out. She wrote many hours, writing her whole life story, the 4 years she spent in these monasteries, and where she is today. And she sought the Rebbe's counsel. Like, how should she come closer after she's been into all these idol worship? What the Rebbe answered her, only a Rebbe can answer. What do you think the Rebbe answered her? There's basically two options to answer, right? Either you're going to say, move on, forget about the past, start over, or you're going to say, this is how you fix it, right? Those are two options you could possibly answer.
So what's your answer?
Not mine, but the Rebbe's answer was, I know the words the Rebbe said, but the Rebbe's answer was like this. It says in the Talmud, if someone says, I tried and I was not successful, don't believe them. Someone said, I tried and I was successful, then believe them. So the Rebbe said, for 4 years you're searching for God. You're searching for God for 4 years, and that's why you're successful. In other words, it's not that you have to discount your past or that you've such a treacherous past. It was part of your journey to looking for Hashem. Yeah. That's what was going on in these 4 years. So therefore, for sure, you're going to find Hashem because you work so hard to try to find Him. Yeah. That's what Rebbe said. Yeah. So to understand that a little deeper, let's go into the story of the giving of the Torah, which we're going to celebrate tomorrow night. There's a fascinating thing. The Torah says, right before the Torah was given, Moses and God have this interesting exchange. God tells Moses, tell the Jewish people, no one can walk up the mountain. Until the Torah was given, no one could walk up the mountain. Now, this was the second time God told this to Moses. So Moses responds to God and says to God, they can't go up the mountain. You already told me. God tells him, go tell them they can't go up the mountain. And Moses says to God, you already told me that they can't go up the mountain. In other words, it's as if Moses is saying, it's a great idea to tell it to them, but you know what? You remember yesterday? Hello, God. You remember? You told this to me yesterday. Well, I told it to them. Okay, so anything else you want to tell me? So what's Moses saying? I mean, God says to tell them, you tell them. What's Moses questioning? He didn't want to tell them again. I mean, why God has to say it again is a different question. But what was Moses saying? That's a bigger question. What was Moses saying? So Rabbi Tzaddik Goyen, who was a giant of spirits, one of the greatest philosophers of Judaism in history, he says, I tried to answer this question for many years. I don't have the answer. He says a potential answer, you might want to say is, he says he discovered in Iran, there was this custom that if someone had a mission from the king, they could not report to the king that they did the mission until the king gave them a second mission. So basically, if the king told you to go do A, you wouldn't go back to the king and tell him you did A unless he asked you to go do B. That was the way it was in Iran. So perhaps, says Tzaddik Goyen, the earth, the human kingdom and the heavenly kingdom are similar. So if in the earth, if in Iran the custom is that you cannot go on you can't tell the king about your accomplishments until the king summons you again. So Moshe Rabbeinu was just reporting to Hashem. He wasn't saying I'm not going to do it. Moshe was just reporting to Hashem because Hashem had given him the second mission. It doesn't answer why Hashem repeated it, but it does answer why Moshe said I told them already. He wasn't saying I'm not going to do it. He was just saying that I just want to tell you I did the mission. So let's see, we're going to learn tonight a deeper answer. The answer from Baruch Mezhe. Baruch Mezhe, if you say that very clearly, you're going to lose your American passport. Mezhe. They'll be out for you. I will be in a minute. Anyway, so Baruch Mezhe was a grandson of the Baal Shem Tov. He gives the following explanation in his Sefer, Tzin Denara. Baruch Mezhe says like this. God told Moses that no one could go up the mountain. How does Moses look at this? Moses look at this as it's impossible for anyone to touch the mountain. It's not like Moses was someone who sort of lost his free will. He's so devoted to Hashem, so that there's no concept of like, am I going to do what Hashem wants? I'm not going to do what Hashem wants. He is so intimate and close with Hashem. If Hashem says something for Moshe, he just reacts naturally. Like when you're driving your car, you turn your car to the right and to the left, it moves automatically. Moshe Rabbeinu was so subservient to Hashem, there's no such thing as not doing what Hashem said. There was a Holocaust survivor who, Anshel Brudi, who was once celebrating the Passover Seder with one of his grandchildren, and his grandson says, Zaidi, you're supposed to ask only 4 questions. I have a 5th question I want to ask you. How do you smile? How are you happy How do I see you? You're always so joyful and so happy. All you've been through in Auschwitz, how is it possible you're able to smile? So his grandfather said the following. He said that the Belzer Rebbe, Arnav Belz, was once celebrating the Passover Seder with his son, and his son wasn't asking the 4 questions. You're supposed to ask the 4 questions at the Seder. That's what makes the Seder a Seder. If someone asks the questions, then the father says the answer. So he wasn't asking the questions. So Rabbi Aaron, the Talmud says you're supposed to do various weird things, so your son should ask the questions. So Rabbi Aaron starts doing a lot of weird things. He starts moving the table around, starts to look, and he says to his son, "Aren't you wondering about why I'm doing what I'm doing?" So his son said, "No, Dad, because I learned that you don't ask questions on a father. On a father, you don't ask questions." So Rabbi Anshel Brody is told there's a grandson with great emotion, tears in his eyes. He said, "You don't ask questions. I'm able to recuperate from my experience," said Rabbi Anshel, "because I have this paradigm. You don't ask questions to a father." Mm-hmm. Previous Rebbe once, guest of honor. The previous Rebbe was once visited.
If I take you nuts,
it's okay. Previous Rebbe was once visited by this woman who she asked the previous Rebbe to describe to her what life will be like when Mashiach will come. She wasn't religious, but she wanted to know what's it going to be like when Mashiach will come. So the previous Rebbe said to her like this: nowadays, if a person wants to put their hand in fire, can put their hand in fire. Can you walk through a wall? You can't walk through a wall. When Mashiach will come, the laws of God be like the laws of nature. Just like today, you can't walk through a wall. So Mashiach will come, you're going to try to steal, try to pull an apple off a tree on Shabbos. You won't be able to. Your hands won't be able to go there because the laws of nature will be the laws of God. That's going to be our natural self. And that's what Moshe said to God, the people can't go up the mountain. You want me to tell them they shouldn't go up the mountain? They're not able to go up the mountain because you said don't go up the mountain. It was this family. I don't know if it's a true story or not. Probably not, but it gives out a point. There was a family and discovered that someone who needed a place to stay, and they offered that the person could stay in their house. Someone told them, by the way, the person who's staying upstairs, he's a thief. So think if it's middle of the night, what do they do with this guy? If they have a thief in their house, what are they going to do? So one of the brothers in the family says, "This is what we're going to do. We'll take away the negelwasser. Won't be able to get out of his bed, right? You get at night, you go to sleep. You're supposed to have a pair of water so that you wash your hands before you go anywhere. So we'll just take away the negelwasser. You won't be able to go anywhere." So that's the meaning. You know, it's Eliyahu's birthday tonight. Yosef, you give him a brachas kohanim because today's his birthday. Birchat kohanim, mefar moed. Give him a big bracha. Maybe after. Okay. So that's the meaning of Moses' statement. He said to God, "What are you talking about? Them going on the mountain? They can't. You said they can't go on the mountain." So what did God tell Moses? God told Moses, "Go down." Go down means that's not the purpose of why I made the world. I didn't make the world for angelic people, that they should be angels. There are angels in heaven. I made the world in a way that there should be a human being in this world, that there's 2 roads to go on, and one road looks sweet and the other road looks sweet, and you have to choose which road to go on. And to decide yourself that you want to go on the road that is the way of Hashem, even though the other road also looks sweet, although the other road also looks good. That's the reason I made the world. And therefore, he told Moshe, I know that you're looking at this, and from a higher perspective, I said, don't go. They can't go. It's impossible. But really, that's not the intent of why I gave the Torah. Torah says that when God, as I mentioned before, God asked us if we wanted the Torah, and we said we will do before we understand. But the Talmud also says that God took the mountain and held the mountain over our heads and said, you have to accept the Torah. So the question is, if we were such a romantic, magnanimous spirit, that we're going to do whatever you say, Hashem, with all our hearts, why be so violent? Not just dramatic, it's violent.
Like a gun to your head.
Yeah, why put the gun to our heads? We said yes already. What's the idea of the violence? So the Maharal says, the idea of the mountain, says, the Talmud uses the phrase, the mountain was over our head like a barrel. What's the idea of a barrel? Maharal says the barrel's empty. Hashem showed us that through the miracles He did for us and the wonders we saw, leaving Egypt and splitting the Red Sea, He showed us the whole world's empty. He showed us the truth is with Him. So we realized that the mountain over our heads like a barrel means that we realize the emptiness of everything else. But the Alter Rebbe says something unbelievable. Alter Rebbe says, why a barrel? A mountain's overhead like a mountain. You don't need an example for a mountain over here. Alter Rebbe says a different explanation. He said, Hashem showed us such love at the giving of the Torah. It's as if you're standing in a barrel. Think about the love of a Jewish mother to a child. A real Jewish mother, the love that she gives to her child, it's such an incredible love that the child can't help but love his mother back. It's not possible not to love her back. Why? Because the love surrounds the child. The love is so powerful. You can't resist the love. It's a love which goes to every fiber of your being. That's the meaning of the mountains overhead like a barrel. The love enveloped us in a way we couldn't turn away. Everywhere we turned, the love was there. A Jewish wedding, is all built around the same way the Torah was given. A Jewish wedding has all the customs of Mount Sinai, because Mount Sinai is the time we got married to Hashem. So the idea of the mountain over our heads is like a chuppah. But the question is, at a chuppah, you're not supposed to force the kala. You're not to force the kala. You can't say, you can't do a shotgun wedding. It doesn't work. According to the Torah, it's not valid. But it is. There's something in marriage that resembles this. How does it resemble this? There's two parts of a marriage. There's the time of marriage when you're excited and you're in love and you want to for your spouse, and the times you don't want to. Mm-hmm. You have to push yourself. But why do you push yourself? You push yourself because you and your spouse are really one. You're two halves of one soul. It's not that you're pushing yourself to do for someone else, but what binds together a husband and wife is not just love. If it was just love, so then the love goes away, so then it goes through someone else. But the connection of a husband and wife, the Torah says, is much deeper than just feelings. The connection of a husband and wife is that two halves of one neshama. They're one entity. And that's the meaning of the mountain over our heads. Hashem wanted to imbue in us that our connection with Torah should be like the tablets. The tablets are engraved. Not just engraved, but they were engraved from one side to another side. In other words, the letters the letters floated. Like, for example, letter Samach is like a circle. Letter Shlosm is like a square. So if you have a circle going all the way through a tablet, the middle part should fall down. Why didn't it fall down? God made a miracle that these letters should stand. What's the purpose of it going all the way through it to necessitate a miracle that the letters should still be there? God wanted us to realize, give us the Torah. Not just He wanted us to realize. By the giving of the Torah, He became one with us in such a way that there's nothing in us that's not godly. There's nothing in us that's not part of Him. There's nothing that's going on in our life that He engraved into us in the Torah through giving us the Torah. Every fiber of our being is one with Him, one with His words. I am the Lord your God, took you out of Egypt, became us. Those words became etched, became engraved into us all the way through. Think about, you go to a doctor. The doctor says, you shouldn't eat French fries. Doctor says. Is it illegal to eat French fries? Is it illegal to eat French fries? It's not illegal to eat French fries. You can eat French fries. But why can't you eat the French fries? The doctor's not telling you laws. It's something we feel. It says in the Torah, there's no one free except for someone who's involved in the Torah. You're only free to learn Torah. What do we mean there's only free to learn Torah? If you keep Torah, you're not allowed to eat in this restaurant and that restaurant. What does it mean you're free if you keep Torah? What it means is, it's like analogous to a doctor. The doctor says, don't eat French fries. When you abstain from the French fries, right? You don't eat the French fries. You're just doing what's you. You're doing you. When you don't eat the French fries, you're doing you. If you eat the French fries, you're destroying you. A telephone. Don't throw the telephone into a bathtub. Oh, is it illegal? Is it illegal? It just will make the telephone not work anymore. It's not good for the telephone. It's illegal. It's not against the law. The laws of the Torah, I'll tell you simply. I'll explain. The laws of the Torah are not just laws that we must keep or will get consequences. These are mojo. This is what makes us who we are. This is our essence. The laws of the Torah are our essence. It doesn't always feel that way. That's the idea of the God putting the mountain over our head. He wants to tell us it's part of you. You may not feel it's part of you all the time, but this is who you are. This is who you are. This is the reason why before this holiday, we give each other a blessing. What's a blessing we give each other? May you receive the Torah with joy and pnimiut. Pnimiut means inwardness, inspiration. What's the meaning of these two lines in the blessing? Joy and inwardness. Inwardness and joy. What's these two lines? What are they about? Human nature is that if you get disappointed in a relationship, it's hard to open up your heart again. If you get disappointed, it's hard to trust that someone really loves you. Hard to open your heart to love another person. The same is also with Hashem. If Hashem disappoints you, doesn't give you what you asked for, it's hard to open up your heart again and to devote yourself to Hashem if you see that you're getting disappointed. So, but really, as we said before, your secret, you are one with Hashem. That's what Rebbe told this girl. For 4 years she's searching. The Rebbe says she's in monasteries. But how does the Rebbe look at it? It's impossible you're doing anything else other than searching for Hashem. It's not that you're going to monasteries away from Hashem. Why did you go to monasteries? Because your neshama was looking for Hashem. That's what Rebbe told her. Your 4 years looking is not something to atone for. Your 4 years of idol worship are all about your soul searching for Hashem. So it's not, you have to fix it because something was broken. It's a sign of this is what you are. You're a Jew. A Jew is someone who looks for Hashem, and you don't know, so therefore you went the wrong way. So, but what happens is that that inner voice we have gets lost. And what happens is when you're happy, your insight comes out. People are happier. They're more generous. They're more themselves. They're more expressive. They're more in tune with their inner self. You have a lot of stuff inside you. When you discover all the stuff inside you, when it's a celebration. When it's a celebration, all the good things you have inside you, like my parents' daughter's wedding. Geschmacka wedding, a freiliche wedding. It's fantastic, a lot of fun. I felt so good there. What I feel? I had some good stuff inside of me. Everyone does. I'm a Jew, right? So when did I feel, the chas is so geschmack, so freilich. I saw friends I hadn't seen for such a long time. I was happy to see them. It brings out all your good feelings inside you. So to our wedding of all of us with Hashem is tomorrow night. So when you have the joy makes it come inside you. And that's the meaning of the story, the meaning of our story, and the idea of the Torah being engraved. The idea of the Torah being engraved is that we are one with the Torah. That's our essence. Every fiber of being is Torah. And that's where we find our home. This is where our delight is. This is where our happiness is. I mentioned something this morning. I just want to conclude with this. L'chaim and he left. L'chaim on iced tea. It says in you heard this before, Rabbi Yosef, the Rabbi Shapiro, the one who invented the Daf Yomi, at the first Daf Yomi celebration, he said the following thing. He says, Kesher Elin Daraisa. It says in Gemara Menachos Daf Amates that in order for tzitzis to be kosher, they have to have one knot at least on top. So he interpreted this homiletically. Kesher Elin Daraisa. It has to have at least one knot on top for it to be kosher. Kesher Elin Daraisa. So he said there's different kinds of bonds you have with the people. The highest kind of friendship you have, you say Torah together. The Rebbe says this is what brings husbands and wives together. It's what brings people together. You spend time studying Torah with another person. It's a different kind of friendship, right? Rabbi Yosef and Torah together. Different kind of friendship. A kesher ein deraisa. Different kinds of friendship. Different kind of camaraderie. The highest kind of friendship is Torah. L'chaim, we should all accept the Torah with joy and inspiration. We celebrate Yerushalayim with Mashiach Tzidkenu Kol Mamash. L'chaim, l'chaim,
Don't give it to you.